Hi, my name is April. Let's talk about books. Today I'm going to tell you about some books that I picked up recently at a book fair. This was sponsored by a local high school. They asked for donations from students and parents and other people within our district, and then on a Saturday they lined all the books up and said come and get them, and so free books, so I was there. The first book that I picked up is this book called Leaphorn, Chi, and More. It's by Tony Hillerman. This was a total cover buy for me. Recently, of course, I have been reading a lot about Native American culture, and that's why it spoke to me. These are three novels: The Fallen Man, The First Eagle, and Hunting Badger. They're mystery novels featuring these two characters, Leaphorn and Chi, and they are Navajo tribal police. I've never read any Tony Hillerman before, and these are not the first in the series, and so somebody up there had donated a bunch of his books, and so I went looking for the first in the series. I found one whose name I sort of recalled seeing on a list of books, and this is what it is: The Hunting Badger. The Hunting Badger. Tony Hillerman, I don't think, is a Native American, just kind of based on his photo on the back, although he has been awarded the Center for the American Indians Ambassador Award, and he's also been named a special friend of the Navajo tribe. So clearly he does have affection for Native Americans, as well as high-waisted jeans. The next book that I picked up is a newer one. It's called The Aviator's Wife, and it is by Melanie Benjamin. And this book is a fictionalized account of Anne Morrow Lindbergh. And from what I understand from the inside cover, it seems that she's grappling with the idea of having her identity kind of folded into her husband's, Charles Lindbergh. And then eventually, of course, she and her husband are going to lose one of their babies who's kidnapped and murdered, and so I am looking forward to seeing how she deals with that tragedy. The next book that I picked up is called Quite a Year for Plums, and it is by Bailey White. I'm actually about halfway through this book right now, and I'm enjoying it. This is just a book about a small town in Georgia and the people that live there, and I live in a small town, so I really enjoy novels like this. Oftentimes though, you'll see that the narrator kind of treats the characters acidly, and when they talk about small towns, it's not complimentary at all, but Bailey White seems to be speaking of her characters as though she really likes them, and I really appreciate that. Another book that I picked up is Folk Remedies That Work. This is by Joan Weiland and Lydia Weiland. And I kind of like the idea of using natural remedies for various ailments and ailments. And even though I am also a huge fan of Western medicine, I'm not going to lie. But I picked this up thinking, you know, maybe there'd be something useful in here. And so, for example, right now I have a cold, so here are some possible remedies for a cold. Eat a raw or roasted Spanish onion before bedtime. I don't actually know what a Spanish onion is. Peel a clove of garlic, keep it in your cheek, and every so often bite into it to release the potent juice. Gross. I'm gonna skip that one. Drink a guggle muggle. Okay. Let's see. All right. This seems to be a Jewish recipe, just kind of passed down generationally. And it says, take the juice of 1 grapefruit, 1 lemon, and 1 orange. Add 1 tablespoon of honey, pour the mixture into a saucepan and bring it to a boil while stirring. Then add at least 1 ounce of your favorite liquor. Okay. Yeah, so that just sounds like a hot toddy with way more juice in it than normal. But that would be one that I would try. Not the garlic, not the onion, the liquor. So that's not going to be like a cover-to-cover read. I'll just pick it up anytime I kind of feel like I might be getting sick, or I don't know, what other things do they have in here? Hot weather endurance, household problems, a dusting tip, stained glass, rectal itch remedies. So something for everybody, I guess. The next book that I picked up is called The World According to Mr. Rogers, Important Things to Remember. And this is kind of a nostalgia, not by, but I picked it up because of nostalgia. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was one of the few television shows that I was allowed to watch when I was a little kid, and he's very comforting. He's not condescending to kids at all, and I always loved watching Mr. Rogers, and even as an adult I liked reading about Mr. Rogers and remembering Mr. Rogers, and occasionally even watching Mr. Rogers again, like on YouTube or something. So this is just a book of like quotes and things that he said. I've actually read this before, right after the Boston Marathon bombings, which I think were in 2013. That was the first year that I'd really gotten into running, and so it was the first year that I had ever paid attention to the Boston Marathon, and my running coach was super excited, and she'd been talking about it for weeks. And I was at school that day, but when I got home and discovered that this horrible tragedy had happened, it really kind of broke something inside me. And so I had picked up this book, I think from the library or something, and at that moment it was kind of what I needed. It was just very comforting. It was the equivalent of just somebody kind of like patting me on the head and saying everything will be all right. For me, it was just a reminder that everybody in the world is not a monster. And I think I might actually have a copy of this already, but it's okay. I'll probably take this to work and keep it in my desk and just kind of dip into it every once in a while to sort of remind myself that people aren't teenagers forever. This book is one that a friend picked up because I had been talking about Murder, She Wrote. This is Murder, She Wrote, Hook, Line, and Murder, written by Jessica Fletcher, Donald Bain, and Renee Paley Bain. And Murder, She Wrote was a TV show that as I got older, my family would watch together. It was one of my favorites. I've actually watched it through on Netflix. It has like 13 seasons or something, but I've watched the entire collection maybe 3 or 4 times because I love it that much. But what was surprising to me is that this is actually the 46th book in the Murder, She Wrote series, and it was published in 2016. The show went off the air like 20 years ago, and people are still reading and writing and buying these books, which is amazing. So I have actually already read this. I've written a review and put it on my Goodreads, which is linked down below, and I'll talk about it more in my September wrap-up. But you know, it was okay. Not as good as the TV show, but it was all right. Finally, the last book that I picked up is called The Ladies of Covington Send Their Love, and it's by Joan Medlicott. And this is about 3 retired women who are living in a boarding house together. And they decide, though, that doesn't mean that they have to give up living. So they go on adventures and stuff. And to me, that sounded kind of like the Golden Girls, except Southern. So I'm looking forward to reading this book as well. And there you have it, the 9 books that I picked up at the book fair. If you've read any of those, or if you want to, let me know in the comments below and we can talk about it. For right now, goodbyes are always awkward, so end of video. You gotta get up. Yeah, you do. Come on. Good boy.